in a while. I invite Dr. Ruchika Kaul Ghanekar, Scientist and Head Cell and Translation Research Division, Interactive Research School of Health Affairs, Bharati Vidyapeeth University, Pune, Maharashtra. A very warm welcome to you, ma'am. Inviting Professor Raka Jain, Professor, National Drug Dependence Treatment Center, Department of Psychiatry, All India Institute of Medical Sciences, New Delhi. Inviting Dr. Alpana Sharma, Department of Biochemistry, All India Institute of Cancer, Medical Sciences, New Delhi. Very warm welcome to you. And inviting Dr. Zishan Fatima, Associate Professor, MIT University of Biotechnology, MIT University, Haryana. Warm welcome to you. So, ladies and gentlemen, a very warm welcome to this session on emerging research trends in Unani medicine. And may I request DG CCRUM, Professor Asim Ali Khan, to kindly do the honors of welcoming our chairs with a floral bouquet. We welcome Dr. Ahmed Kamal, Dr. R.K. Khar, Dr. N. Zahir, our co-chair, and Dr. Seema Akbar. Thank you, Dr. Khan, Professor Khan, for doing the honors. And may I now request Mr. R.U. Chaudhary, Assistant Director, Admin, to do the honors of presenting bouquets and welcoming our eminent speakers. Dr. Ruchika Kaul Ghanekar, a very warm welcome to you. Professor Raka Jain, sir. Dr. Alpana Sharma, Dr. Zishan Fatima, and to Dr. Alpana Sharma. Very warm welcome. Thank you, Mr. Chaudhary, for doing the honors. So, ladies and gentlemen, once again, the theme of this session is emerging research trends in Unani medicine. And as we all can see, it is a women-dominated session. Time duration is approximately 1 hour 20 minutes, and which includes the opening and closing remarks by the distinguished chair and the co-chairs, presentations by all our eminent speakers for about 15 minutes each, and we shall have question and answers in the end if the time permits. And a quick round of introductions. Our distinguished chair, Dr. Ahmed Kamal, is Pro-Vice Chancellor, Jamia Hamdard, New Delhi, and for the last 30 years he has pursued his research career at IICT Hyderabad and also worked in the capacity of outstanding scientist at IICT. He was also the project director of the National Institute of Pharmaceutical Education and Research, NIPA, Hyderabad, and he served as the acting director of CSIR IICT from September 2012 to 2013 and April to June 2015. His research interests mainly focus on the design and synthesis of gene-targeting compounds as new anti-cancer agents and their targeted delivery as prodrugs. New chemical entities for anti-tubercular and anti-malarial activity are also his research avenues. He is also proficient in development of new efficient synthetic methodologies, including solid-phase resin-bound reagents and chemoenzymatic strategies that are useful in both basic and applied pharmaceutical chemistry. He has won several honors and awards for his research, some of them being the CSIR Young Scientist Award in Chemical Sciences, Fellow of National Academy of Sciences, India, 1999, and latest being the most outstanding researcher in the field of chemistry by Careers 360 in the year 2018. Distinguished co-chair, Dr. N. Zahir Ahmed, is Research Officer Unani in charge, Regional Research Institute of Unani Medicine, Chennai. To his credit, he has 39 research papers published in national and international journals of repute, and has also participated and presented quite a good number of papers in various national and international conferences. He has received many awards: Gold Medal for Best Researcher in Unani Medicine from Tamil Nadu, Best Paper Presentation from Unani Stream in the first International Ayush Conference, and the Best Research Paper in Literary Research category during the second Unani Day celebration by CCRUM. Distinguished co-chair, Dr. Seema Akbar, is Assistant Director in charge, Regional Research Institute of Unani Medicine, Srinagar. She joined the Regional Research Institute of Unani Medicine, Srinagar in the year 1992 as a research officer. As an officer in charge, her efforts and capabilities have been towards achievement of excellent organizational framework, capacity building, continuous quality assurance, and credible clinical and preclinical research by the Institute. She is an accomplished scientist. Her contribution to the area of preclinical studies, drug standardization, medicinal plants of Jammu and Kashmir, etc. is notable. Her work has been cited extensively worldwide. And Dr. Akbar has been conferred fellowships by many prestigious international academic bodies, also on the basis of the research work done. She has been bestowed with many awards, including the Lifetime Achievement Award by CCRUM, Ministry of Ayush, Government of India. Our eminent speaker, Dr. S.M. Arif Zaidi, who is Professor Jamia Hamdard, New Delhi, would be joining us in a while. Eminent speaker, Dr. Raka Jain, is Professor, National Drug Dependence Treatment Center, Department of Psychiatric, AIIMS, New Delhi. Her research focuses on drug addiction, primarily testing of the active drugs in body fluids, toxicology, neuropsychopharmacology, behavioral, biochemical, molecular studies, and abuse liability of psychotropic drugs, tobacco cessation, validity and pattern of drug abuse among substance users. She has received advanced training in analytical methods of body fluid analysis at Institute of Legal Medicine, Forensic Toxicology Laboratory, University of Padova, Italy, under UNDCP Fellowship, and postdoctoral training in behavior pharmacology at Emory University, Atlanta, USA. And she is going to present on the role of Delphinium denudatum, Dadwar in nicotine addiction. Eminent speaker, Dr. Zishan Fatima, who is Associate Professor, MIT Institute of Biotechnology, MIT University, Haryana, has received 2 Young Scientist Award under the Fast Track and Women Scientist schemes, respectively from the Science and Emerging Research Board, New Delhi, in the year 2012. She is actively engaged in research in the field of infectious diseases, particularly on the aspect of multi-drug resistance in human pathogen, Mycobacterium and tuberculosis, and Candida albicans. She has 2 books, around 40 peer-reviewed papers to her credit in both international and national journals of repute. She is going to present on evaluation of anti-mycobacterial potential of Unani drugs, Kurs-e-Sartan, Kafuri, and Sharbat-e-Ijaz, a mechanistic approach. Anna eminent speaker, Dr. Alpana Sharma, is professor in the Department of Biochemistry, AIIMS. She is member of National Academy of Medical Sciences, National Academy of Sciences, and American Association for Cancer Research and International Gynec Cancer Society. She is going to present on potential of Unani medicine in cancer. And ladies and gentlemen, with those words of introduction, I hand over to our distinguished chairperson, Dr. Ahmed Kamal, to kindly give his opening remarks and carry forward the proceedings of the session. Over to you, sir.
Assalamu alaikum and good afternoon to all of you. I think all of us have been practically introduced at length. So I will not go into any introductions. What we could do is, since we are running out of time, and we have very limited time for all these lectures, what we thought is we'll start with the lectures first, and probably at the end we can have a summary with our co-chairs together. As the first speaker is not around, I would like to request Dr. Ruchika Ganekar to talk about her talk on exploring the potential of plant-based medicines in cancer.
Good afternoon, everyone. I would first like to thank CCRUM for inviting me for this talk. So my title is Exploring the Potential of Plant-Based Medicines in Cancer. Next, please. Every one of us know here, cancer is one of the most dreaded diseases in the world. Despite advanced therapeutics, the associated adverse events and the recurrence remain the major problems, which are still the major challenges. Medicinal plants have been used for thousands of years in folk medicines in Asian and African populations, and various studies have shown that these plants have the potential to be used as potent anti-cancer drugs. They exhibit potential chemopreventive properties and could also be used as adjuncts to the current treatment modalities, chemotherapy or radiotherapy. Medicinal plants have been reported to work on multiple biochemical pathways to regulate cancer. Next, please. So, I have mentioned here some herbs and some formulations which have been used to target various pathways which will regulate the cancer, like anti-inflammatory. They have been shown to have anti-metastatic potential, anti-angiogenic potential. They have been shown to induce apoptosis, regulate cell cycle, or induce cell cycle arrest, act as immunomodulators, wherein they regulate the Th1, Th2 cytokines and hence regulate the cancer growth. They have also been shown to act as epigenetic modulators by controlling the HDAC enzymes or HAT transferases. They have been shown to be radioprotective and modulate the tumor microenvironment. And recently, a lot of research is being done with these plants as well as bioactives of these plants, where they have been shown to regulate the cancer stem cell growth by regulating various biochemical pathways involved. Next, please. So, similarly, single Unani drugs I have just tabulated, which have been shown to regulate different types of cancers. I won't name them, you can just go through this. Colon, breast, liver, different types of cancers. All these single plants have been shown to act as anti-cancer agents. Next, please. Next, please. These are the compound Unani drugs in cancer treatment. They have been shown to have these traditional uses. So it's written there. It will be difficult for me to read it, but anyone can go through this presentation. So they have been shown as purgative of black bile, which is the major cause of cancer. So they have been reported, like some mumaki is reported in cervical cancer. Then to resolve different types of aroma surge and relieve severe pain. Next, please. So what is present in these medicinal plants which are showing all these activities? They contain plant secondary metabolites, these plants, aqueous extracts or any ethanolic extract, whatever you say. Different types of extracts are there. So terpenes are there, phenolics are there, nitrogen containing compounds are there, sulfur containing compounds, and a lot of work has been done to show the anti-cancer properties of these bioactives present in these plants. Next, please. So these phytocompounds or bioactives, they have been shown to regulate various pathways in the cancer, for example, metastasis or genesis. Here I have just listed only few bioactives like resveratrol, denbunin, camphorol, genistein, etc., which have been shown to act on these different pathways, COX1, COX2, then apoptosis genes, BCL2, etc., MMP9, which is in metastasis, etc. Next, please. So what we have done at our lab, I am going to talk about that. Next, please. So the one medicine, we have worked with HC9. It is basically based on Ayurvedic formulation, Stannishodhan Kashai, which is given for breast during pregnancy for improvement in breast health care. So what we didn't get one plant material of this, that is Masdenia tenosycinema. So we only made a formulation of 9 compounds and found that it is acting on both ERPR positive, MCF7 breast cancer cell, as well as ERPR negative, that is the triple negative breast cancer cell, which is very aggressive breast cancer nowadays. You can see it affects both young as well as middle-aged women. So this formulation is regulating the cancer growth, or you can say all these pathways which we have studied, angiogenesis, then inflammation, then migration, then arrest, inducing the arrest. Next, please. These are the publications. Next, please. Then we have studied another formulation, Panchvalkal, in cervical cancer. So it is a mixture of 5 plant materials. And again, we have shown that this cervical cancer is usually due to HPV E6, HPV 16 and HPV 18 infection. And E6 and E7 are the major oncogenes which are involved in the spread of this cancer. So we have shown that it downregulates this E6 and E7 protein in the cell lines as well as the gene in the mouse papilloma model. We have worked both on cell lines. We have shown the anti-cancer activity as well as there is a cervical cancer mouse model called as mouse papilloma model using C57BL6 mice. There also we have shown that it reduces the tumor growth and regulates all these pathways, reduces the expression of these oncogenes, increases the expression of tumor suppressor proteins, P53, etc. That I have just summarized in this. Next, please. Then we have made our own formulation. It's a patented Indian patent we got for this, and this also we have found effective against cervical cancer. We have done both in vitro and in vivo experiments and shown that now it is ready to go for clinical studies. Like here we have reached up till this level. Next, please. Then individual plants we have studied like Ficus religiosa and shown its activity against cervical cancer, studying all these molecular mechanisms. Next, please. This is just representative. I have put figures. I have just summarized because all the data I cannot put for 15 minutes talk. So just representative showing that it downregulates. This is a Western blot figure where you show the expression of the proteins. E6 is going down, E7 is also going down in both the cell lines. It is SIHA and HeLa, 2 cervical cancer cell lines. Next, please. Then cinnamon cassia, that is dalchini. Also, we have shown that it is against cervical cancer. It works in both HPV 16 plus and 18 plus. Our cervical cancer is number 2 in India. And 80% of these cancers are due to infection with HPV. So it becomes very important to study this. Next, please. So this is also representative showing how this is disrupting mitochondrial membrane potential, which induces apoptosis. Next, please. Then we have the bioactive component of dalchini, that is cinnamon, is cinnamaldehyde. There are many, but cinnamaldehyde is the major. We have conjugated it with iron oxide nanoparticles and shown how it is inducing the anti-cancer activity in the breast cancer cells, and it has hyperthermia potential. What is hyperthermia? It is the ablation of the tumor by increasing heat. So these magnetic particles have that properties. They have this hypothermia property. So this also we have shown. And it is reducing this, after the conjugation, it is reducing the IC50 value of this cinnamaldehyde. Like if you use only cinnamaldehyde, very high concentration of cinnamaldehyde you have to use. And compared to that, if you conjugate with the nanoparticles, the IC50 comes very less. That I have just written there. Next, please. Then we have also shown that these bioactives of cinnamon, it reduces HDAC8 activity, what I said, epigenetic modulator. So HDAC8 is more in cancer cells. There are drugs, synthetic drugs, which are used in clinics for downregulating HDAC8. Here we have shown these cinnamon bioactives have the potential by bioinformatics as well as in vitro experiments. Next, please. So recently we got funding from CCRUM on this formulation, Habbe Musaffi Khoon, and we are checking its potential in cervical cancer. These are the ingredients of Habbe Musaffi Khoon, around 16. This is a compound drug which is used as a blood purifier and an excellent remedy to treat boils, scabies, acne, pimples, etc. But main thing is it purifies the blood. It is therapeutically used for hemorrhage. It is also being prescribed in UTI and is safe in pregnancy. It is a pill composed of these plant materials. Next, please. The blood purifying activity of Habbe Musaffi Khoon can be attributed to various components which have been reported to have anti-cancer activity. Individual plant materials have been already reported to have anti-cancer activity. So we thought we can use anti-cancer as well as antioxidant properties. So we thought we could test in cervical cancer cell lines as well. As also being an excellent blood purifier, it will help to prevent the combustion soda, that is black bile. Therefore, will help in controlling the cancer. Next, please. So there are only a few experiments. We recently got this funding in November. We have just done 2 experiments only, showing that by MTTT it reduces the cell viability of the cancer cell lines, both SIHA and HeLa. SIHA is HPV 16 plus, HeLa is HPV 18 plus cell line. Next, please. And we had done growth kinetics for 24, 48, 72 hours and shown that there is a decrease in the growth kinetics in both the cell lines after treating with different concentrations of Habbe Musaffi Khoon. Next, please. So actually what previous speaker was also saying about this, they have excellent Unani and Ayurveda. I believe they are plant materials same and they function, everything is same, only the name is different. That's what I believe. And they have tremendous potential against cancer, but there are some things which need to be addressed so that they can be integrated into the modern system, like standardization and quality production of herbal products need major attention. Then toxicity issues need to be checked, like acute toxicity, subacute toxicity, which are the concerns of the modern drug regulators. Then there should be participation from oncologists, because what I feel, these oncologists from the modern field, they are not ready to use these plant materials as an adjunct to the cancer patients. They say, no, let first our therapy be complete, then only whatever you want to do, you can do, not at our own risk. So there is urgent need that oncologists should understand the potential of these plants, but of course, after going through these regulatory procedures like standardization, toxicity and all. So then academia, industry, government, they should all come together to propagate these drugs at the clinical level. Then there should be sufficient experimental proof should be generated and analytical validation at clinical level, which is an urgent need. Then there should be the difficulties which are to have a definite number of patients where we can test these drugs. So tackling those difficulties and accruing, randomizing, retaining patients and identifying appropriate placebo interventions also need to be attended to. And finally, globalization and industrialization of the traditional drug sector is the urgent need of the hour. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Rachika. I think we're well within time. Questions will we have later, I think, at the end of... shall we? Okay. Yeah, please ask your question.
Fourth slide. Okay. Fourth slide, please. What was it regarding?
They can circulate.
Fourth slide, please. These are major. There may be more also.
of plant. So which group is most effective to prevent cancerous cells, like you have told about flavonoids?
Phenols are mostly phenolics.
Exactly.
Majority of these plants are rich in polyphenols.
In comparison of sesquiterpenes, phenols are more effective.
I cannot say that. I am not an expert in that, which are more.
Okay.
But usually what we see, polyphenols are major components and they have antioxidant properties also.
Yeah, actually I just want to know that if we just want to characterize a particular compound, like phenols, we are just focusing on phenols. So we will just extract the compound.
What is the major component present in your plant material, for example? You can check that first.
Okay, it means according to you, phenols are the most...
Not according to me, as per the literature survey.
Okay, thanks.
Any other question? Yes, please.
Aqueous extract, tablet, we are dissolving in water. That is the tablets, these are in tablet form. No, we are just dissolving the tablet. Yeah, the commercial available tablet which we are getting from the pharmacy. No. We are just dissolving it. And then we are filter sterilizing it for circle. No, we have not. We are just doing aqueous. It's getting dissolved in the water. Where is it? Okay. Okay. Thank you. I will take note of it.
Okay then. Thank you so much, Dr. Ruchika. We'll go to the next talk by Professor Raka Jain. Yeah. You didn't hear it.
Thank you, Chairperson, for introducing me. At the outset, I would like to thank the organizer for giving me an opportunity to be here. So, the topic of my today's talk is role of Delphinium denudatum jadwar in nicotine dependence. Okay. No, it's not. There's someone. Next. Okay. Tobacco is the most prevalent drugs of abuse worldwide. There are around 1.1 billion smokers in the world, and about 35% of the males and 66% of females around the world smoke tobacco, and around 80% of the world, that is 1.1 billion smokers, live in low and middle income countries. Tobacco kills around 7 million people each year, translating to one smoking related death every 5 seconds. Next slide. It is the leading cause of premature mortality, mainly due to heart and lung disease, and 8,90,000 deaths are the result of non-smokers due to second-hand smoke or the passive smoking. On an average, it cuts about 13 years of life expectancy, and 42, as per the Global Adult Tobacco Survey in India in 2016 and 17, 42.4% of men and 14.2% of women use tobacco in one or the other form. Next slide. Next slide. So this is the tobacco plant. This is the Nicotina tabacum. Next slide. Next slide. The most psychoactive ingredient in the tobacco is the nicotine. Next slide. Chronic consumption of nicotine is highly addictive, and chronic use of tobacco having nicotine leads to tolerance and dependence in both animals and humans. So current treatment for nicotine dependence have limited succession rates, and tobacco cessation treatment field urgently requires exploration of new treatment modalities. Next slide. So we come on the Delphinium species larkspurs, and it is an annual perennial herb, erect and hardly ornamental herb. It is grown, it belongs to the family Ranunculaceae, commonly known as Jadwar and Nirvisha in India, found in the outer range of Himalayas from Kashmir to Kumaun. Next slide. The generic name of Jadwar is derived from the Greek word which means dolphin, and the word Jadwar is Arabic form of Persian Jadwar, and it is considered as a great purifier or an antidote. And Persian name given to is Mahaparveen is probably given to this plant as it blossoms in the beginning of the summer when it plays its rise. Next slide. In India, Jadwar was named as Nirbisi due to its antidotal properties. Nir means to oppose, to remove, and bis means poison. So Jadwar is an antidote for aconite poisoning, and some of its vernacular names include Antilla, Baltul, Arzad, Jadwar, etc. Next slide. Chemically, this Delphinium denudatum contains many active compounds like alkaloids. Some of the main alkaloids which are active include delphocurane, steph-C-arginine, delphinine, codelphinine, etc., etc. Next slide. It has many therapeutic activity applications and important drug use in the indigenous system of medicine in India, especially in the Unani medicine. Roots are used in various medical formulation in Unani and Ayurveda. It has been used to reduce the Zafari in 2003 found that it reduced the withdrawal symptoms in people on de-addiction therapy, and it has also been used in a variety of ailments such as aconite poisoning, fungal infections, asthma, cough, jaundice, piles, and nervous problems. Next slide. In Unani medicine, the roots are used for its beneficial effects in nervous system, nervous disorders, and opium addiction. Its roots are bitter in taste and are also used as stimulant. It is, as I told you earlier, that it is a blood purifier and prescribed for people who have digestive problems and provides relief from painful wounds and inflammation. Next slide. It is a natural analgesic prescribed for relief from toothache, used and also anticonvulsant in India. And Zawahar Mohra, it is Unani formulation in which it is Delphinium denudatum is the main constituent. It is also exert an anti-stress effect against diverse stressors. Next slide. Some of the formulation in Unani system of medicine is Khamira, Golzaban, Habbe Zadwar, Habbe Zawahar, Zawahar Mohra, and Zindewam Lozantine, etc. Next slide. So, it has many pharmacological activity, and I was already mentioned about the therapeutical activity of this compound. It is a cardioprotection, it's used for cardioprotection, hepatoprotection, immunomodulation, radioprotection, antibacterial, antimicrobial, and antifungal effect. So it has a great therapeutic potential. Next slide. When we come to de-addiction properties, we found that it has been established, published in the literature that delphinium denunatum in opium addiction is mentioned in some classical literature, and the alcoholic extract of delphinium denunatum showed de-addiction property in moderately and severely induced morphine-dependent rats. It has also been shown that reduction in counter sign as well as check signs of morphine-dependent withdrawal in morphine rats. Next slide. It has a protective role against morphine-induced dependence and tolerance in mice, and aqueous extracts of delphinium denunatum root showed significant effect against morphine-induced tolerance and dependence in mice. So it may prove to be an alternative remedy in morphine de-addiction. Next slide. So these results raise the question, thus mechanisms known to be critical to opiate dependence are also important in nicotine dependence, and based on these findings, it is hypothesized that delphinium denunatum root extract may attenuate nicotine withdrawal due to common biological mechanism for dependence. Next slide. So there are considerable evidence is consistent with the hypothesis that there are some common neurobiological, neurochemical mechanisms underlying both opiate and nicotine dependence. Nicotine receptor stimulation reduces release of endogenous opioid peptides, resulting overstimulation of the opioid receptors. Next slide. This is the reward pathway, which is mainly involved in the tolerance and dependence and in addiction. This is a mesolimbic system, which is common to all addiction, whether it is nicotine, opioid, and or drugs of abuse. Next slide. So, in the today's presentation, I would only give little highlights of the denunatum root hydroalcoholic extract at different doses for the ability to attenuate mecalamine precipitated nicotine withdrawal in nicotine-dependent rats. Next slide. So, this study was conducted in male rats and male Wistar rats and 60 to 90 days rats. They were housed in a plastic cage 12 hours per day and allowed free access to food and water. And experiments were conducted with permission and guidelines of the Institutional Animals Ethics Committee. Next slide. Roots of delphinium denunatum were procured, identification was established, hydroalcoholic extract was prepared using Soxhlate apparatus, and 4 different doses were used, 200, 400, 800 and 1600 milligram per kg. Next slide. And the physical dependence was developed by using 7-day Elzit mini osmotic pump, which was filled with nicotine hydrochloride and saline, and under ketamine anesthesia it was implanted subcutaneously in the scapular region of each rat, and continuous infusion at a rate of 9 milligram per kg per day for 7 days. Before implantation, each pump was primed for 4 hours in physical saline. Next slide. This is the Elzit mini osmotic pumps, and these pumps were used for delivery system designed to provide constant, accurate administration of the test agent. Next slide. So after that, on the 7th day, each motor activity was measured on day 0 baseline, 4th, 6th, and 25 minutes at 5 minutes interval, and animals were weighed prior to measurement of the motor activity, and nicotine withdrawals were precipitated by mecalamine challenge 4 hours prior to the test dose of denunatum on the 6th day. Motor activity was assessed for 25 minutes at 5 minutes intervals, and withdrawals were assessed by Galler's-Holtzman rating scale. And salines were given in place of the nicotine in control rats. Next slide. This Gallup-Hortman rating scale is a rating scale which includes graded signs, check signs. Graded signs means percentage loss in 60 minutes, number of escape attempts, number of wet dog shakes, number of abdominal constrictions, and check signs were measured by diarrhea, ptosis, erection, facial fasciculation, ejaculation, irritability, swallowing profuse, salivation, and chromodochiria. Next slide. So, here I would give you a very result of the motor activity. You can see on after the implantation of the osmotic pump, if you see on the brown line indicates the nicotine-dependent rats, and there is a stimulant activity. It increases on the 7th day till the nicotine is continuously effuses, and on the 7th day, when the Michelin challenge was given, there is a drop, and then there is a further increase in the motor activity. But after giving the dose of the motor activity got decreased at different doses of delphinium denuratum. This slide shows the composite score of the Gallup-Hortman rating scale, and you can see that the nicotine withdrawals, they were 100%, and with it is dose dependent, and with the increasing dose of the delphinium denuratum extract, there was a 52% reduction in the withdrawal signs, suppression of the withdrawal signs. Next slide. So after Michelin challenge, motor activity increased, GH score increased, and after treating with delphinium denuratum, motor activity decreased, and animals pre-treated with low doses has little effect in suppression of the GH score, but at higher doses of delphinium denuratum showed significant decrease on the global withdrawal scores as compared to controls, as well as some of the behavior signs on the checked signs. Next slide. So the overall pattern of the findings suggests that hydroalcoholic extract of delphinium denuratum root extracts appears to be potential therapeutic agent. It alleviates the symptoms of nicotine abstinence, facilitate tobacco cessation, smoking cessation, provide further insight to understand the neurobiological mechanism of nicotine dependence, and this extract of this could have great potential for the development of new therapies for smoking cessation in the Indian context to deal with the problems of tobacco dependence. Next slide. This is the project team, and I would like to thank the CCURM Ministry of Ayush, Ministry of Health and for giving us this project last year. So it is only a 1.5 year study. It's an ongoing project, and we are also doing ongoing work is also on the Habbe Jawahar. It's ongoing. Next slide. Thank you for your kind attention.
Thank you, Professor Rakha Jain. We can have one or two questions. Maybe I think if there are no questions, we can have the discussion later at the end. Thank you so much, Dr. Rakha. Dr. Alpana Sharma. She's talking on the potential of Unani medicine in cancer.
So very good afternoon to all of you. I am Professor Alpana Sharma. The work which I am going to present has been done in the Department of Biochemistry, All India Institute of Medical Sciences. First of all, I would like to thank the organizers who has given me this opportunity to share my work with this august gathering. So, which one? Okay. So, Dr. Ruchika has made my job little easy. So, I'll skip some of the introduction slides to cut off the time. So, global incidence of cancer is 218.6 per 1 lakh people according to Globocan 2018 survey. More than 1,300 Indians die every day due to cancer. Cancer can be solid tumors or it can be hematological malignancies. So today I am going to discuss about two types of hematological malignancies. One is multiple myeloma, the other one is chronic myeloid leukemia. So multiple myeloma is a B-cell malignancy characterized by the uncontrolled proliferation of an accumulation of plasma cells in the bone marrow. It is the second most common form of hematological malignancy and accounts for 13% of all malignancies. CML is a myeloproliferative disorder resulting in the accumulation of granulocytes or monocytes in the bone marrow. CML accounts for approximately 10 to 15% of all leukemias worldwide. Chemotherapeutic drugs such as thalidomide, lenalidomide and bortezomib is used for the treatment of multiple myeloma, whereas imatinib is used for the CML. The present regime causes several side effects and is expensive. Most of the cases relapse after a period of time. So this chemotherapy, it causes morbidity, it can create chemoresistance, there is a lack of effectiveness and lots of side effects. It can be moderate to severe. So there is a necessity to identify an efficient, less toxic and cost-effective treatment modality for the cancer therapeutics. We all know and discussing since yesterday that herbal medications are there in the Indian system of medicine, which provides promising option for cancer treatment as an alternative or adjuvant therapy. So we all know that there are some hallmarks of cancer. Hallmarks of cancer means it has uncontrolled proliferation. Second, evading growth suppressors. Growth suppressors means our body have some genes with a tumor suppressor in nature which can suppress the tumor, but they are down-regulated, like P53. Avoiding immune destruction. Our immune cells generally fight with the foreign invader, but they are unable to do in case of cancer. These T cells, they get energetic, they get non-functional. All these macrophages and neutrophils, they run from other places to the tumor microenvironment. They causes inflammation. Still, they are unable to control the growth of these tumor cells. We have enabling replicative immortality, continuous replication, which is immortal in nature, like telomerase activity, which is increased, even then not able to effect on it. Activating invasion and migration. We all know that tumor cells, if it is in the bladder urothelium, it can go to the layers of, it can invade to the other layers of muscles. So this way it can invade or migrate from one place to another. Like we have the lung metastasis, we have the liver metastasis, we can have the brain metastasis. So migration and invasion is the hallmark of cancer. We have inducing angiogenesis. These cancer cells means they need to have some nutrients. So we have neoangiogenesis or new blood vessel formation. Then anti-apoptosis. Generally there is a nature of our body that there is apoptosis of these cells, but in cancer it is not going to help. Then the deregulating cellular energetics like mitochondria. There are a lot of generation of free radical species or the oxidative stress or the mitochondrial membrane potential gets altered. So these are the hallmarks of cancer. I have focused in my research on inflammation, the migration, the angiogenesis, the apoptosis, oxidative stress and MMP. So just to begin this, we first thought let us see in the patient whether really these hallmarks of angiogenesis and inflammation are getting altered. So we have recruited 75 multiple myeloma patients and we have seen some angiogenic marker and the inflammation marker. Here you can see that in patient, the angiogenic marker like angiopoietin, VEGF, HGF, they were all enhanced. They were all raised. Similarly, the COX-1 and COX-2 activity was also enhanced. Then also we have done by the mRNA expression. There also we have seen, yes, the same is the case. Here, the inflammatory markers and the angiogenic markers were raised in the patient as compared to control. And we have also correlated these markers or the levels with the severity of disease. Like in the first grade, they were lower, but in the higher grade, the elevation was much higher. So we have done the correlation, we found the positive correlation in this, and this paper we have published in Annals of Hematology. Then we started using the cinnamon bark extract in our preliminary studies, which we all know the cinnamon is an evergreen tree widely cultivated in southern and eastern Asia. It is indicated as an analgesic and antipyretic against cold, fever, headache, myalgia, and arthralgia. It exhibits antioxidant, anti-inflammatory properties. So we have done its anti-tumor potential in multiple myeloma cell line, that is RPMI 8226, along with its effect on angiogenesis and cyclooxygenase. And there, this is the cell line which we maintain in our laboratory, and then we have done the cell cycle analysis by PI staining and molecular expression like alteration by qPCR and Western blotting. Here LD50 was calculated, this was 72 microgram per ml, and here you can see that yes, the cinnamon treated cases like 0 hour, 24 hours, 48 and 72, after the treatment with cinnamon extract, the anti-proliferative effect has been seen. Then we have done again the angiogenic marker and the inflammatory markers by qPCR and Western blotting. There we have seen that after the treatment, with the time, the protein expression was lowered in these markers. Then also we have done for COX-1 and COX-2 the same protein, this Western blotting and mRNA expression. And this paper we have published in Journal of Herbal Medicine. After with this preliminary work, the CCRM has awarded me, or the Ayush has awarded me an EMR project where we have used the hub-based gun, that is the Unani formulation, and this has been currently used for the diseases like insomnia, asthma, stress, etc. It also possesses potent antioxidant properties that help protect against cellular damage caused by free radicals. The anti-tumor potential of this formulation has not been tested till date in cancer. So this is the composition of hub-based gun, and we have got this formulation from the council. So first of all, we have checked the LD50 of this formulation in RPMI 8226 and U226, which is the multiple myeloma cell line, and K562 of the CML. And we found the IC50 value for all three. The same concentration we have used for further experiment. This is the important experiment because here, what we did, we have taken a healthy subject. From that, we have taken the blood and PBMC was isolated, and then those PBMC were treated with the hub-based gun to see its toxicity. Excuse me, is it phone or is the signal for me?
No, somebody's phone.
Oh, phone. Then it's all right. I thought my time is over. So then we treated these primary cells with the hub-based gun, and we have found there was no effect on the healthy cells. There was no toxic effect on the healthy cells. Then we have treated these cells, the multiple myeloma cells and the CML cells, with this hub-based gun. And there we have seen that yes, the hub-based gun has shown cytotoxicity to RPM 8226, to U2666, and also to the CML cell line. So hub-based gun has shown cytotoxicity potential. Then we have done the analysis of apoptosis, and there we have found that yes, in early apoptotic and late apoptotic, after the treatment with the hub-based gun, these cells have shown apoptosis. In the, again, the same second cell line and in the third cell line. Then we have checked the mitochondrial membrane potential, because once there is cytotoxicity, there is a damage to the mitochondria, there is damage to the mitochondrial membrane. So this potential gets altered, and there we have seen that yes, after the treatment of hub-based gun, this MMP or the mitochondrial membrane potential is decreased in the treated cells. U266, the second cell line for multiple myeloma, and also for the K562 after the 24 hours in this. So this showed that yes, depolarization in these cell lines upon treatment with habeas gun. The next, because as I told you that migratory potential is a hallmark of cancer, so we did this also. So in the Boyden chamber, what happens, there is upper chamber and the lower chamber, in between there is a membrane. So in the upper chamber, we have put the cells which are treated, cancer cells which are treated with the habeas gun, and the other well we have put the cells which were not treated with the habeas gun. And then after some time we have seen that yes, in the control sample which were not treated with the habeas gun, there is a migration of cells in the lower chamber. And then we have counted the souls. So these cells, so this habeas gun treated cells have shown lower migratory potential as compared to control, where we have not treated the cells with this formulation. Then effect of angiogenesis, as I told you, neoangiogenesis is a hallmark of cancer. We did the angiopoietin, which is a marker of angiogenesis, and the VEGF. The levels of VEGF and HGF were tested in treated cases and untreated cases, and there we can see that yes, in all RPMI, U226 and K562, there is a decreased trend after the treatment with time. Same with the for the VEGF. Then the effect of inflammation in RPMI, 8226 and other cells, cultured to supernatant after treatment with habeas gun. There we found the decreased inflammatory marker, that is the TNF-alpha we have used as an inflammatory marker. There the levels of TNF-alpha decrease after this treatment. And finally the oxidative stress, because oxidative stress is also the hallmark of cancer, so we tested this by ORAC assay, where we have tested the antioxidant level. If there is more oxidative stress, antioxidant will be low. If there is less oxidative stress, antioxidant will be higher. So in this case, after the treatment, the antioxidant levels have increased. So to summarize this work, anti-tumor effect of Unani herbal compounds, that is cinnamon and habeas gun, were observed. Cell death by apoptosis has been found by various assays after treatment with Unani herbal formulation. Mitochondrial membrane potential and migration ability were reduced after treatment with habeas gun. Angiogenesis and inflammation were decreased upon treatment with this formulation. And habeas gun leads to reduction in oxidative stress in myeloma and leukemic cells. So how can I conclude this work? Yes, for the first time, Unani herbal formulation have demonstrated their anti-tumor potential and are pharmacologically safe. These results will provide the impetus for using Unani herbal formulation as novel adjuvant therapies for multiple myeloma and CML in future. This formulation might reduce the side effects caused due to conventional drugs and might improve the quality of life to the cancer patients. Further validation of habeas gun in vivo in animal experiments and in clinical trials are in progress. This would prove its therapeutic potential to be used in clinical settings in future. Although this is little far off, we have to validate these results in patients, animal studies as well as in the patient's clinical trial. So I would like to acknowledge my collaborator, Professor Lalit Kumar and Professor Tulika Seth, who has given me these patient sample of multiple myeloma, and also the funding agency Ayush, who has given me this EMR project. This is my second year, and this is the work which I have done in 1.5 years. And these are my students, who are my PhD students and my postdoctoral students in my lab. And the work mainly has been done by Daya Sagar, Nidhi, and Santosh. Thank you very much for your patient hearing.
Thank you, Dr. Alpana. Sharma?
I can answer any question if there are. Yes?
See, one is left as of now. The other one is yet to come. I don't know who is coming or not.
Actually, whether I should speak here or not, I have presented my project research proposal on ashgandh only. But when it was gone to Unani, they said that, you should use our formulation, which should have some scientific basis, because there are no scientific basis of this formulation. So I am using Habbe ashgandh. Yes, the people have done some studies on ashgandh, but not on hematological malignancy like multiple myeloma and CML, where I am working.
Yeah.
Sure. Yes. For patient, we have not yet standardized. We have to do the animal study, then only we can standardize the dose for the patients. But yes, we have got the tablets, and it is being used for other purposes, not for cancer. So that only we will be able to do after the animal experiments, not now. I cannot tell right now.
Thank you, Dr. Alpana,
Thank you.
for your wonderful lecture. The next speaker is Dr. Zishan Fatima. She'll be talking on the evaluation of antimicrobacterial potential of Unani drugs like Hursesaran, Kafuri, and Sharbat-e-Ejaz, and she's providing a mechanistic approach on this.
Assalamu alaikum, respected chair, dignitaries on the dais, off the dais, fellow colleagues, and my dear friends. It's really difficult and critical to talk just before lunch, and if you are the last speaker and running out of time, but I still take the challenge and will try to complete as early as possible. Before going into details, I would like to thank the organizer, especially Dr. Asim Saab, Dr. Pradeep Kumar for inviting me here, and Dr. Ghazala, the proactive member here, and giving me a platform to interact and communicate my results, the data generated I have with Mycobacterium here. So I will be talking on mechanistic insight of Unani drugs to combat Mycobacterium tuberculosis. Tuberculosis, we all are very familiar. This is a deadly disease claiming around 1/3 of the population, and with the single bacteria, that is Mycobacterium tuberculosis. The good point is this: the therapeutics are available, and they are the first-line defense, second-line drugs, third and fourth. And these drugs have different mechanisms of action. You can see rifampicin, they act on DNA, the isoniazid, which acts on membrane, and so forth and so on. But the major problem arises with the emergence of multi-drug resistance tuberculosis. It is a multifactorial phenomena governed by so many known and unknown factors. Mostly there are 4 mechanisms through which a pathogen acquires infection or resistance, that is alteration in membrane permeability, overexpression of drug efflux pumps, and drug target modifications. And therefore, there is an urgent need for the development of new strategies to combat multi-drug resistance tuberculosis. My lab is working actually in 3 different areas to combat MDR, and first is lipidome. Lipidome actually is a sub-branch of metabolomics which deals with the lipid present in the bacteria as well as human. The second is micronutrient. Actually, we as human and pathogen, they all need micronutrient for our survival. And there exists a constant struggle to acquire these micronutrients from the surrounding. And therefore, we are targeting this as inhibitors through which the pathogen acquires the resistance. And third, and which is very close to my heart, is natural inhibitors, which I will be talking today. Because of these problems and MDR, now we are looking for alternative medicines and going back to our primitive system of medicines because of its proven medicinal properties, lesser side effects, and cost effectiveness. Yesterday only, the question arises why Unani is called Unani system of medicine. And we all know that it has originated from Greece, and that's why we call it as Unani. And it has flourished in 4 different eras. And I am happy to say that Indian period was the most active and advancement for the Unani drugs. So why Unani only? Because it is holistic, it deals with human body, mind, and soul. And it has the potential not only to treat and manage a disease, rather to heal or cure. So it was earlier a pillar of Western practice, healing practice. But more recently, this system has diverged from the allopathy and as primitive medicinal systems or alternative medicine system. Now, as we are facing trouble and complexity, and therefore there is a need to reunite and do more in the field of alternative medicines. So the key questions arises, Unani drugs, do they act on Mycobacterium tuberculosis? Is there any role on antimicrobial resistance? Or if it is, then how does it affect the mechanism? Quercetan Kafuri and Sherbet-e-Ijaz are the 2 drugs which I am testing, and these 2 drugs are suggested by the CCRUM itself. The main thing is this, they are already used for bronchitis and tuberculosis, and it is available in market. Unani system and other system usually deals with the body healing. And people used to investigate the body and in vivo trials through mice and all. But here I thought to check out whether this is acting on the bacteria itself or not. For this, first of all, we did an assay to find out whether this drug is active on Mycobacterium tuberculosis. And here we can see very well that they are inhibiting the growth of Mycobacterium in dose-dependent manner. The Quercetan Kafuri was found to be effective on this, but Sherbet-e-Ijaz has shown reverse effect. I don't know what the reason, we have to go into detail. Then further checking out, we thought to check that if the combination, as this medicine was provided by CCRUM, and they have put a certain condition that you do not have to modify any composition, and you have to investigate as it has been given to the patient. So we tried to check a combination of Quercetan Kafuri with a composition of Sherbet-e-Ijaz, and luckily it was very fortunate that we can see a significant down inhibition of the MTB cell viability. Then we checked whether the available drugs which are already through the allopathy available in market and given to the tuberculosis patients, are they affecting them or not? And we found that, interestingly, we found that rifampicin and isoniazid, these 2 drugs, was more potent, even better than 2-fold, when it is supplemented with Quercetan Kafuri and Sherbet-e-Ijaz. Then, after getting these enthusiastic results, we drilled down to the further details and found that the colony morphology, those who know the mycobacterium, they have coding factors, and coding factors are the hallmark of tuberculosis, that is, the composition is mycolic acids. And here you can see that the coding factor in the control and in the combination, they are very different. Further, we saw the cell morphology and cell surface phenotypes, and there is a clear difference between the control and the combination. These factors suggested us to move into the sedimentation of the cells, and here we found the sedimentation rate was substantially increased in the combination of Quercetan Kafuri and Sherbet-e-Ijaz. As I told you in my previous slide, that we are interested in lipidomics also, and Mycobacterium tuberculosis holds very unique lipid profile. So we try to check whether there is any difference upon treatment of Kursartan Kafuri and Sharbati-e-Jaz, and we could found, till now we have done TLC, and there you can see the differences in the combination and through the control, and even in between the Kursartan Kafuri and Sharbati-e-Jaz. And now we are subjecting it to mass spec analysis, which is available in our institute through the FIST grant. Then checking to the MDR mechanisms, I told you the first very important mechanism is the permeability. Permeability means the cell acquires, bacterial cell, they acquire some resistance because of which the drug do not penetrate inside the cell, and then it is one of the major reasons for multi-drug resistance. And here we can see there is an enhanced permeability in the membrane when it's treated with Kursartan Kafuri and Sharbati-e-Jaz. Similarly, passive diffusion was also being checked, and after 15-minute time, there was a constant increase in the treated cells. Biofilm is a very significant virulence factor, which a pathogen, they make a biofilm to protect them from the drugs. And we check that if there is any effect on biofilm formation, yes, the combination showed that there was no biofilm formation when the culture is grown with the combination Kursartan Kafuri and Sharbati-e-Jaz. But yes, the pre-formed, the biofilm which was mature biofilm, it was not acting against a mature biofilm. Means it helps in not to form the biofilm, rather to break the biofilm. Biofilm formation is surface adhesion property, and then we checked for the buccal cell with the buccal cell, but we could not found any good results up till now, but we are working upon. We also checked the oxidative stress, and as a protective mechanism, defense mechanism, bacteria generate acquire so many stresses, and here we can see the oxidative stress is being observed in Kursartan Kafuri and Sharbati-e-Jaz. Then genotoxicity was also being checked. I don't know whether it is visible. I think Kursartan Kafuri shown the best genotoxic effects. One of the properties is metabolic cycle, which a pathogen acquire to overcome the metabolism, and this is a bypass pathway. Glycosyl cycle is a bypass pathway. We have checked, but we couldn't find any result till now. Therefore, in conclusion, right now I am in position to say that Kursartan Kafuri and Sharbati-e-Jaz in combination improves the efficacy of known anti-TB drugs, that is isoniazid and rifampicin. And both the drugs disrupts the membrane homeostasis, and it inhibits the virulent traits. But yes, further studies are required to investigate the critical mechanism what are going on. So in crux, I can say Kursartan Kafuri and Sharbati-e-Jaz has the potential to be used as adjunct with known anti-TB drugs. I would like to thank Ministry of Ayush for providing me grant support so that I am working on Kursartan Kafuri and Sharbati-e-Jaz. This is the project, and this all result was of the first year grant, and just now I received the second one. So hope to move ahead and find more details about this. This is the biosafety lab we hold in our department where we work for the mycobacterium. Last but not the least, I would like to acknowledge, first of all, the financial support which gets my research going. First, Ministry of Ayush, then my own university, Amity University, Haryana. I would also like to thank SERB, DST, and BRNS bar, through which we were able to establish biosafety lab at the Amity University, and DBT, from which recently I have got a grant for lipidomics project, and my collaborators, Professor Sanban Singh, now Director AIMS Bhopal, from whom I am getting all the support for MDR, clinical strains and all. Dr. Sabrish, he is mass spectrometry and analysis expert. Pramod Mehta from MDU Rohtak, Dr. Mandira Vatsal, Dr. Saf, and Dr. Imtiaz for bioinformatics. And my hands, of course, my students, who constantly, without whom this would have never been possible. Rahul is here, who has done most of the work. The back where he is standing at the back. And naturally, to end tuberculosis, we all need to unite together. Thank you very much. I'm ready for the questions.
Thank you, Dr. Zishan. Now the presentation is open for discussion. Any questions? Yes, please.
Target of this. No, we haven't checked for the patient. We have checked on the Mycobacterium tuberculosis, that is bacteria only. And for the target, we are in process of checking that. At this position, I cannot say the single target, but the result so far allows me to say that membrane is mostly we can say that membrane, because INH, that is isoniazid, is a drug which acts on membrane. And we have seen that MTB, this Quercetin, Kafuri and Sharbati Ejaz, both of them enhancing their INH potency. So might be but we cannot say with all certainty, because rifampicin, which is a drug acting on DNA, is also affected. So might be both. Right now we are not in position to exactly pinpoint, but up to certain extent, maybe membrane and DNA.
Yeah, Dr. Kim. No, first let us finish questions. Yes, please. I think she is able to, you are able to hear him, no?
Yeah, I could hear.
Yeah, please continue.
Okay. Maybe you can work together with the National TB Control Program, how this, Unani medicine can shorten the, that treatment period rather than 6 months or 1 year. Maybe you can look at. And then there is an issue that whether it's really can help to reduce that MDR TB. You can make it some control group, and then you see that what is the differences occurring of this MDR TB. If you can work out this, I think it can be, is an excellent, success, how that the traditional medicine can work on this, communicable disease. So this is my just comments on your, and congratulations for your excellent research work. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. It is encouraging. I have noted down your comments. We will be working upon and to see that if we can decrease the time of the treatment through the antibiotics, and I will be happy to collaborate or help if any consortium or research institute is going on. And I openly say that I can collaborate for the cause in any way I could with all my strength. And actually, I yesterday felt that Unani medicine was more focused on the lifestyle diseases, and it really hurt a little to my heart, because I am working on infectious diseases and I am a little bit attached to, and more so where I found that this won't be actual justice to Unani system also if one limits that to lifestyle diseases only and sparing some of other things also. Thank you so much. I will work upon this. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Nisha. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed. Sorry for the interruption, sir. We have our eminent speaker for this session, Professor S.M. Arif Zaidi. May I invite him to kindly join the panel? Please put your hands together to welcome him. Dr. Zaidi is from Department of Zarahat, School of Unani Medical Education and Research, Jamia Hamdard, New Delhi, and he's going to present on management of non-healing ulcers through Unani approaches. Over to the chair, sir.
Yep, I think Professor Zaidi, you can start because.
So I think you can do. So you can do the presentation from there.
Assalamu alaikum. Very good afternoon. I am extremely sorry for getting late due to some unavoidable reasons. And with the permissions of Chair, my Pro-Vice Chancellor Ahmad Kamal Sahab and the other chairpersons, my colleagues also, I am happy to be here with my multidisciplinary and you see the diversity of the chairpersons is here. And the topic which has been allotted to me is Unani approach in healing, in non-healing ulcers. That is inside the photograph, non-healing ulcers. May I have first slide, please? Just a bit. This is some introductory this thing, which you know that non-healing ulcer is defined as a defect or break in the skin, which remains for 6 weeks or so and shows no tendency to heal up to 3 or more months. Chronic ulceration of the lower leg is a very common problem amongst adults, which causes social distress and the pain also, which affects 1% of the adult population and 3.6% of people older than 65 years of age. More than 85% of lower limbs amputations are preceded by foot or ankle ulcers. Foot ulcers are especially common in people who have one or more of the following health problems, like peripheral neuropathy. As you know, this is a nerve damage, and there is a loss of sensation. A diabetic person are the most affected, and it is the most common cause of peripheral neuropathy in the diabetics. People with peripheral neuropathy may not be able to feel when they have been hurted by the shoes or any other type of injury, and ultimately the ulcers becomes chronic. Diabetes is one of the major causes of non-traumatic amputation across the world, and you must note that every 30 seconds one person became amputated all over the world due to gangrene problems. Approximately 15 to 25% of individuals with diabetes develop foot ulcers, of which an estimated 12% require lower extremity amputations. Circulatory problem is another one. in which there is least supply to the vessels and ulcer does never heals. And this is this thing in which there is abnormalities in the bones or muscles of the feet, and any condition that distorts the normal anatomy of the foot can lead to foot ulcer because of the pressure. Killa foot is an example of that. So that in a nutshell we can say you see that coming to the introductory this one, the normal wound healing process is a dynamic and complex, having three phases: inflammation, tissue regeneration, and remodeling. If the normal healing process is interrupted, an ulcer can become chronic in nature due to lack of growth factors and cytokines, which delay the healing process. We have taken a number of cases for practical purposes in my OPD. You see, this is the first case. It is 55 years old gentleman, which was suffering this non-healing ulcers, and this conditions was persisting since more than 5 months, and the patient was on the stick, lathi, so that the affected limb became atrophied. So this patient was kept on Unani medications beside herodotherapy. The wound was washed with neem water, and herbal dressing was done on daily basis simultaneously. As and when required, debridement was also done, and this picture was taken after completion of 1 week. The same treatment was continued. Debridement done as and when required again. Picture was taken after 1 month. The wound seems under healing process. Because of the time constraint, I'm cutting short, not going into detail. This picture was taken after 1.5 months. The wound has shown further sign of improvement. You can see in the pictures. It is obvious here. And this picture was taken after completion of 2 months. Here you can see the wound is completely healed. Now the patient is on both foot. He has left his stick. Atrophy, muscular atrophy became recovered, and now he is enjoying his normal life. There is another case. This is a diabetic foot. The patient was suffering this diabetic foot since 2 years. You can see the condition of the foot, highly infected, and uncontrolled sugar was also there. And patient's general condition became very fragile. And this wound extended up to sole also, here you can see in the picture. And the foot was imminently at the verge of amputation. This patient was also kept on Unani medications after admission in the hospital beside herodotherapy, and herbal dressing was done on daily basis. The picture was taken after 3 months. After 3 weeks. The syrup is reduced substantially and swelling has also come down. Here you can see that up to some extent the swelling has come down. This picture was taken after 3 weeks on the sole side. You can see the wound over the sole has shown signs of healing further. And this picture was taken after completion of 6 weeks. Wound is still under healing process. The picture of the plantar side of the foot taken at the same time. The wound is under healing process. You can see here there is no inflammation at all. And this picture was taken after completion of 9 weeks. The wound is completely healed here. There is no wound seen on the dorsal side. And if you see on the sole side, the same patient, there is no wound on the sole side. That's for the same patient. This is after completion of 3 months, and ultimately patient became discharged after completion of 3 months from the hospitals. I am presenting another one case. This is a 41 years old gentleman and was having non-healing venous ulcer, suffering from 2 years. Here you can see the swelling was also there. And patient was admitted and kept on Unani treatment again. wound wash with neem water and herbal dressing done almost daily. Debridement done as and when required. And this picture was taken after completion of 2 weeks, and signs of healing seen in this picture you can see. Now you can see the wound became completely healed after the completion of 28 days only, and patient became discharged from the hospital. There is no wound at all, just only 28 days. I am presenting another case. This is a 33 years old gentleman having non-healing ulcer over left knee since more than 8 months. This patient was kept on these medications beside local dressing and therapy, and picture was taken after completion of 3 weeks. The wound became dried. It was under healing process, but patient never returned this thereafter. So I do not know what happened thereafter. But there is sign of healing seen in this picture also. There is a case, as I was discussing with you, the killer foot is one of the reason for the non-ulcers. This is the patient of killer foot, in which this non-healing ulcer persisting more than 2 years. And again, this patient was kept on medications, and this picture was taken after completion of 2 weeks. And this picture was taken after completion of 4 weeks. You can see the sign of healing scenes in this pictures also. And this picture was taken after completion of 6 weeks, and thereafter the patient has gone off and never came back. I don't know what had happened thereafter. There is another case. This is 58 years old lady, diabetic again, was having non-healing ulcers, likely to turn towards threatening gangrene, as you can see in the pictures. Patient was kept on this medication beside the local treatment also, and this picture was taken after completion of 4 weeks. Here you can see the sign of improvement in the wound, and slough also gone off. The picture was taken after completion of 6 weeks. Here you can see on the heel side the ulcer is almost healed on the completion of 6 weeks. Thank you so much. Thank you. Yes. Please use mic.
Yeah,
I'm coming to you.
Yeah, it's here.
Not all the patients were diabetic. Some of the patients were diabetic. If you are talking about diabetes, or you are talking about the ulcers?
Ulcer patients, which you have shown just now, that diabetic patients, you have treated for complete healing with the herbal washing, you are telling it. What about internal medicines you are given for that?
These were Unani medicines, most of the blood purifier, which are having antimicrobial and antiseptic properties. Not allopathic medicine at all.
Okay, with mere herbal healing itself, it completely cures.
Pardon?
Just a herbal washing itself, that healing getting cured. The diabetic patients.
To control diabetes?
I mean to say that the diabetic patients who is getting ulcer.
Yeah.
And what about the treatment you are giving? That only herbal washing or internal medicines also?
I am talking about the internal medicine beside local dressing and hydrotherapy. Without internal medicine, it is not possible, because you see in this age, most of the patient goes into atherosclerotic changes, so that there is least blood supply to the targeted organ. So that simultaneously we try to open that atherosclerotic changes also. Beside this antimicrobial, antiseptic properties drugs, these are these Unani drugs.
What are the medicines you are giving for the diabetic patients for taking this?
You see, the Shatra is one, Chirayata is another one, Mundi is another one. There are you see the decoction of 7 medicines for this purpose. Pardon.
Okay.
Anti-diabetic therapy.
Anti-diabetic therapy, yeah. You see, if diabetes is not too much, then we put on this diabetes Hamdard, the patented drugs only, and diet control. And if it is a patient is on this insulin and sugar is running up to 400, 500, those we put the patient on the same. We did not change it, and by that insulin we have control.
Please, sir, you can discuss this during lunch. Give opportunity to another person. Maybe one last question.
हकीम गुलाम मुहिउद्दीन हैदराबाद से हूँ सर. आपने जितने पेशेंट्स को बताया कि उसमें सिर्फ बताया कि हर्बल ड्रेसिंग, तो हर्बल ड्रेसिंग में आप जो दवाएं बताए उसमें मेंशन ही नहीं किया गया आप कौन सी दवा की है, कौन से ऑइंटमेंट लगाए, जिमात लगाए.
मैं आपको अभी बोला कि
नहीं, नीम वाटर से आप जो है सिर्फ वॉश किए और हर्बल मेडिसिन उसके ऊपर अप्लाई किए, हर्बल ड्रेसिंग बताया. हर्बल ड्रेसिंग में आप बताना नहीं चाहे कि क्या कौन सी दवा यूज की. और
आई एम टेलिंग यू विदाउट लूजिंग एनी टाइम.
इंटरनल मेडिसिन क्या दिए आप? जब जो है 300-400 डायबिटिक हो गई, डायबिटिक अल्सर हुआ, तो आप क्या इंसुलिन देके उसको डायबिटिक कंट्रोल किए?
यू सी देयर आर नंबर ऑफ पेपर पब्लिश्ड बाय माय नेम एंड
पब्लिश की बात नहीं, आज जो बात हुई सिर्फ उसकी बात कर रहा हूँ मैं आपसे.
एज फार एज drugs are concerned, all these things mentioned in the papers.
पेपर मेंशन है सर, आज हम बैठे हैं आपके सामने, आपसे यही पूछ रहे हैं कि हम पेपर देखना नहीं चाहेंगे.
ठीक है, ठीक है.
It is not something that number one. Number two, as far as you are talking about the local medication.
टाइम की बात नहीं है, बताने की बात है.
सर सुन लीजिए, मैं बता रहा हूँ.
उसके ऊपर रिसर्च किया, इतना किया, आप 4-5 केसेस की हिस्ट्री बता दी आप, तो फिर उसके बाद
सर जितनी देर में आप क्वेश्चन करेंगे उससे 1/4 टाइम में मैं आपको बता दूंगा क्या दिया है. लोकल ड्रेसिंग में हमने सिर्फ हनी अप्लाई किया है.
करते ना आपसे,
सुन लीजिए ना आप सर. लोकल ड्रेसिंग में हमने हनी अप्लाई किया है, सलफ हटाने के लिए रा पपाया यूज किया है. दैट्स एनफ.
Okay. Thank you, Professor Zaidi. Please come here. Thank you. I would request our co-chairs to give a brief remark about the presentations, what happened in this session. Particularly on the emerging research aspects with respect to this Unani medicine. I think we had some very wonderful lectures on this particular topic and dealing with different aspects of Unani medicine and bringing some sort of validation as well as the scientific basis. Because these are very important issues, particularly the standardization of the Unani drugs as well as bringing scientific validity. I would request my co-chairs to give their brief about this particular presentations.
Thank you, respected Chair. With the permission of Chair and co-chair, let me give the concluding remarks. First speech was on the exploring the potential of plant-based medicine in cancer by Dr. Ruchika Kaul Khanekar. She has focused on ficus, cinnamon, habbe musafirpun in cervical cancer. All this shows that Unani medicine has got a tremendous potential and there is a lot more to be explored. I would like to add that once I was asked to prepare a concept note on cancer. So while I was perusing the literature, I was astonished to find that, basically cancer is there right from day one when mankind has come into existence. And cancer, it has been said in the classical test, is caused due to Sauda ehtarafia, due to combustion of black bile. And the treatment regimen which has been prescribed for the Unani line of treatment, which has been prescribed, is Munzijat Sauda and Musila Sauda. So the Munzija Sauda drugs, the drugs which called cocktails of black bile, those drugs which are there in the classical text, when I found those Munzijat Sauda drugs, I was astonished to find that they have all got anti-cancer property. That shows that our eminent physicians were right when they say that there is a concept of black bile. Indirectly, it validates the concept of humoral theory in Unani system of medicine. And Madam was also highlighting that most of these medicinal plants which are used in cancer has high polyphenol content, flavonoids, antioxidants. It is based on these properties that much research has to be carried out further. Coming to the topic of Professor Rakha Jain, who spoke on role of deliphenum denudatum jadwar in nicotine addiction. Of course, jadwar is a wonderful drug which is there in practice since centuries together for the treatment of so many nervous disorders. And we have found that it has got anticonvulsant property. It is having a neurotropic, it's a well-known Unani neurotropic drug. It has got anti-stress property. And of course, this madam's presentation has concluded that it has the property of alleviating the symptoms of nicotine addiction. So, well, further trials will explore more light on this. And Dr. Alpana Sharma, again, she has spoken on the potential of Unani medicine in cancer. She has particularly highlighted on cinnamon bark extract, habbe asgan, and its role in as a potential drug in multiple myeloma and chronic myeloid leukemia. And the habbe asgan, as the dose was being asked, human dosages we used to give 2 tablets, 500 mg each, twice daily for the patients. Now that has to be calculated when we do in vivo studies. Coming to the lecture of Dr. Zishan Fatima, who was speaking on evaluation of antimicrobial potential of Unani drugs, Kurse, Sartan, Kafuri and Sharbate Ijaz. It was a in vitro study. And let me share my experience. We are, our institute, Regional Research Institute of Unani Medicine, Chennai, is in collaboration with National Institute for Research in Tuberculosis, where 2 Unani pharmacopoeial formulations, Kurse, Tabashir, Sartani and Arkhe Harabhara, this is being taken up to be given as an adjuvant in anti-tubercular regimen. What happened was, in the beginning, we went it for an adjuvant trial, but they refused and said that your drug, how far it is effective, we doesn't know how it will affect our CAT1 regimen in sensitive pulmonary tuberculosis diseases. So they insist us to go for pharmacokinetic study before we start a clinical trial. Then when we went to pharmacokinetic study, the Institutional Ethics Committee of NART has requested us to give the data based on Khurse Tabashir Sartani and Arkhe Harabhara, which unfortunately we didn't have at that time. So they advised us to go for in vivo study. So hence we planned an in vivo study in albinovistar rats, where the study was conducted in RRM Srinagar. It was divided into 4 groups. One was control, and another one was Unani pharmacopoeial formulation alone, and third one was CAT1 regimen, and the fourth one was CAT1 regimen plus Unani pharmacopoeial formulation consisting of Kurse Tabashir Sartani and Arkhe Harabhara. So this study has been carried out at Srinagar, and at the end we found that the 4th group, the CAT1 group, had some to an extent produced some hepatotoxicity in that group, which we didn't found in the 4th group. That is a combination group. And at the same time, in the presence of Kurse Tabashir Sartani and Harabhara, the bioavailability of rifampicin has increased 3-fold without affecting the hematological indices. The biological, pathological parameters were also under normal limits. This shows the potency of these Unani pharmacopoeial formulations, which have been in practice since centuries together, and at the end, a day will come when we will make these formulations into the main treatment along with CAT1. With these words, I conclude, and I once again thank the distinguished speakers for their remarkable presentation, and which has also given an insight to all of us to explore much in the field of research in Unani medicine. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Zahir, for your remarks on the presentations of this session. Let me congratulate the organizers for having the speakers who gave such excellent lectures. Thank you all.
Thank you very much indeed. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for the wonderful presentations we had. As I request our distinguished chair, Dr. Ahmed Kamal, to kindly do the honors of presenting mementos as a token of gratitude and appreciation. First to Dr. N. Zahir. our co-chair in charge, Regional Research Institute of Unani Medicine, Chennai. Thank you very much indeed, sir, for summing up the presentations. To our distinguished co-chair, Dr. Seema Akbar, in charge, Regional Research Institute of Unani Medicine, Srinagar. Thank you very much indeed, ma'am, for co-chairing this session. To our eminent speakers, Dr. Ruchika Kaul Ghanekar, Professor Raka Jain, Dr. Alpana Sharma, Dr. Zishan Fatima, and Professor S.M. Arif Zaidi. Thank you very much indeed. And may I request DG CCRUM, Professor Khan, to do the honors of presenting a token of gratitude to Dr. Ahmed Kamal, our distinguished chairman for this session. Thank you very much indeed, sir. And ladies and gentlemen, with that we close this session, break for lunch. The lunch break is of 30 minutes only. We would request everybody to be back in time. We also have a very important valedictory session at 4 o'clock. We would like to commence all the proceedings and conclude all the proceedings before that.